Akashvani Mangaluru presents Voices from the Bookshelf in collaboration with Bookaholics Mangalore. Dear listeners, welcome to today's episode of Voices from the Bookshelf. In this episode, you will listen to a talk by Milton D'Almeida on the book Number the Stars by Louis Laurie.
Hello, dear listeners. Buckle up, because today we are not just reading stories, we are time traveling. You heard that right. Ever imagine what it felt like to live during the freedom struggle, or what people feared, carried, or whispered during the world wars? Well, there is a genre that lets you do exactly that. It's called historical fiction, history with a soul. Instead of memorizing dates and battles, you get to feel what it was like to be there, in the crowded markets of ancient India, in the cold streets of 1940s Berlin, or in candlelit homes where revolutions were quietly being planned. These stories are grounded in real events, real times. But the characters, the drama, the emotion, that's where imagination steps in and paints it all in color. Think of it as a movie in your head, but the backdrop, it's pure history. Let me give you a quick example. There are books set during the American Civil War. But instead of hearing generals talk, you hear the story of a runaway slave trying to find his freedom through enemy territory. Or a story during the Black Plague, where a young girl must survive not just illness, but superstition and fear. Or closer to home, a novel set in 1947 during India's partition, seen through the eyes of a villager who doesn't fully understand what's happening, but his world is changing forever. That's what historical fiction does best. It tells the untold story, the quiet courage, the small rebellions, the love letters written in a time of chaos. And what's more, it makes you care, because you're not just reading about history, you're living it through the hearts of people who might have been just like us. An English historian once said, historical fiction is not only a respectable literary form, it's a standing reminder of the fact that history is about human beings. Now, if you're wondering where to begin with this amazing genre, I've got just the book for you. It's called Number the Stars, written by Louis Laurie. And trust me, it's not just a story, it's a journey through one of the darkest times in world history, the Nazi occupation of Denmark during World War II. But here's the twist. You don't see it through the eyes of a soldier or a leader. No, you see it through the eyes of a 10-year-old girl, a girl named Anne-Marie Johansson, who finds herself caught in a dangerous mission to help her Jewish friend escape the Nazis. It's a story of friendship, fear, resistance, and an unforgettable message about bravery in the face of cruelty. Sounds intense? It is. And in just a few moments, we'll dive deeper into this powerful book and explore how even the smallest voices can make a difference in history. So stay with me, because the past has some amazing stories to tell. And now, dear listeners, let's dive into the story I promised you. Number the Stars is a historical fiction written by American author Louis Laurie in 1989. It received the prestigious Newbery Medal for Young Lit. The story takes place in 1943 during World War. Our setting is Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark, a country that had been under Nazi occupation for more than 3 years. At the center of the story is a 10-year-old girl, Anne-Marie Johansson. She lives with her parents and younger sister. Living next door is her best friend, Ellen Rosen, who is Jewish. Tension rises when the Nazis announce a plan to relocate all Jews in Denmark. The term relocation may sound orderly or peaceful, but in reality, it meant deportation to concentration camps and potentially to death camps. The novel follows how ordinary Danish citizens like Anne-Marie's family responded to this threat. It shows how courage, kindness, and quiet acts of resistance helped many Jews escape to safety. The novel teaches us that even in the darkest of times, bravery can come from the most unexpected places, even from a child. It's short, it's simple, but it hits like a thunderclap. And it all begins with a knock on the door. One night, German soldiers burst into the Johansson home. They are looking for Jews. And Ellen, Anne-Marie's best friend, who is Jewish, is hiding right there in the same house, pretending to be part of the family. But then, Anne-Marie sees something terrible. A soldier is just outside her room. She rushes back. The chain around Ellen's neck, it's still there. A Star of David, a symbol of her Jewish identity, her faith. A chain that she has never taken off, the very thing that could get her killed. She tries to remove it, her fingers trembling. She can't. And what does Anne-Marie do? She acts fast, desperate, brave. She reaches out, grabs the chain, and with all her strength, yanks it off Ellen's neck. Quick and quiet. She hides it, just in time. That moment, it's not loud. There are no fireworks, but it is pure heroism. Now, one of the most surprising lessons in this book is that sometimes not knowing is safer. We see multiple such instances. Anne Mary's parents and her uncle Henrik are part of the Danish resistance. They are secretly helping Jewish families escape Denmark and reach Sweden, which is not occupied by the Germans. But they don't tell Anne Mary everything. Why? Because if she is caught, she can't reveal what she doesn't know. At first, she is frustrated. She knows there are some serious things that her parents are hiding from her. She wants to be involved. She wants to understand. But then, her uncle tells her something unforgettable. It is much easier to be brave if you do not know everything. And in that one line, we understand. Ignorance can be protection, and courage? It isn't always about knowing the danger. Sometimes it's about walking forward anyway. And now, dear listeners, let's zoom into one of the most chilling moments of the novel. We are inside Uncle Henrik's house by the sea. The mood is heavy, the lights are low. There are people gathered who are strangers to Anne Mary. Mrs. Johansson stands tall and says the words, "Our great Aunt Berta has died. A funeral is being held. The coffin rests in the living room." But something feels off. Anne Mary is confused. She has never heard of any aunt by that name. Later, away from the others, she corners Uncle Henrik and asks him directly, "Is there really a great Aunt Berta?" And Henrik, calm, kind, but serious, tells her the truth without saying it outright. He says, "It's easier to be brave when you don't know everything." And just like that, Anne Mary understands that the funeral is a lie, a shield, a cover, a disguise. Then, a bang on the door. German soldiers. They barge in, guns slung, eyes sharp. They are suspicious. "What's going on here?" One growls. "Why are so many people gathered?" says the other one. Mrs. Johansson doesn't blink. She says with quiet grief, "There's been a death in the family. We are having a funeral." One of the soldiers is suspicious and says, "It seems odd to me that you have closed this coffin so tightly. Let's open it up." Mrs. Johansson walks in quickly and says, "The doctor said it should be closed because Aunt Berta died of typhus. It spreads fast. Do you want to risk it?" The soldiers immediately retreat, fearing infection from the dead body. But what they never realize is that there was no body. There never was a great Aunt Berta. What was inside the coffin then? Blankets, clothes, supplies. Everything the Jewish families will need to escape Denmark. Everything they'll carry on Henrik's boat to freedom across the cold sea. This wasn't just a funeral, it was a resistance operation. Now comes one of the most nerve-wracking scenes in the book. A packet, a very important one, was meant to be delivered to Uncle Henrik at the harbor. Peter Nielsen, a brave young member of the resistance, has handed it over to Mr. Rosen, Ellen's father, for delivery to Mr. Henrik, who is waiting at the harbor. But in the rush, Mr. Rosen has accidentally dropped it in the house, and Henrik, waiting at the harbor, needs it urgently. Anne Mary's mother, Mrs. Johansson, has injured her foot while traversing in the dark forest on her way back to Henrik's house after dropping the Rosen's family at the harbor. And so now, there is only one option left. Anne Mary, just a child. She doesn't volunteer, but she must go. She takes the basket, hides the packet beneath a cloth, and walks into the deep, dark forest alone. And there, in the stillness of the woods, she meets them again. The German soldiers. Armed, suspicious, dangerous. They stop her, question her, search her basket, and this time she has to lie. She becomes a child again, innocent, clueless. "My Uncle Henrik forgot his bread and cheese," she says. Her voice is calm, her hands steady, but inside, her heart is racing, and yet she does not break. That moment shows us something important. Bravery isn't loud. Sometimes it's just standing still when every part of you wants to run. But what was in the basket? What was so important that it had to reach the boat? Not food, not a secret message, not money. It was a handkerchief, a simple white cloth, but soaked in a special chemical. The German soldiers knew. They knew that Jewish families were somehow escaping from Denmark to Sweden. But what they didn't know was how. What they couldn't see was the truth right under their noses. Many Jews were being hidden inside secret compartments on boats like Uncle Henrik's. Simple fishing boats carrying more than just nets and gear. In response, the Germans began using sniffer dogs, trained to detect hidden people by their scent. It was a desperate move because the Nazis knew they were being outsmarted. They just didn't know where to look. This sets the stage for one of the most brilliant tricks in the story. Something that saved lives, something that happened actually in the real history, with signs, courage, and a simple handkerchief. This simple handkerchief was indeed a special one. It was soaked in a chemical compound that would initially attract the dogs because of the smell of the flesh, and once they sniffed, would temporarily lose the sense of smell. This tiny thing, it confused the dogs. It saved lives. And once again, Louis Lowry reminds us, it's not the size of the weapon, it's the power of the intention. And now, let's talk about the title. Why this book is called Number the Stars. It's taken from the Bible, from Psalm 147. He determines the number of the stars and calls them each by name. It's a line about divine protection, about how every life matters, even when the world turns cruel and cold. And in a time when millions were being erased from their homes, their names, their identities. This verse is a quiet reminder. No one is forgotten. Every star is seen. Every name remembered. Number the Stars is not just a book about World War II. It's a book about how children become courageous, how families become protectors, how ordinary people become heroes by doing small, dangerous, and deeply human things. And yes, there are moments of tension, fear, heartbreak. But more than anything, it's a book full of hope. It shows us that even in the darkest times, there are stars. There are people who choose kindness, risk everything for others, and shine, even when the night feels endless. Thank you.
You were listening to Milton D'Almeida on the book Number the Stars by Louis Lowry. This was today's Voices from the Bookshelf. See you in the next episode.